Hi, welcome back to Easy Dispel. I'm your Dungeon Master, Andrew Day, and I'm joined by our fabulous adventurers, Will playing Orelton,
Hey,
Rachel playing Vala, Mike as Raven, and of course David as Kaya. Uh, and then our unspoken hero of the show, Syrinscape, because Epic Games need epic sound. All of the background audio, music, everything you hear is being done through them. Check them out just at Sirenscape.com. You can bring them into your home game. That ambiance adds an entire new level that I didn't really realize how much we needed until we started using it, and I think
Amazing.
everybody can agree. Um, if you're watching on YouTube, which I think right now is the only place you can watch, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out, lets us know people are watching, and helps us grow and develop as a channel ourselves. If you're just joining us, you're late. You've got a few other episodes to catch up on. But where we last left off, the party had been traveling through the forest of Aretas, this dark magic forest that they've been kind of working their way through for the last few days. Traveling along, they encountered a dryad who was tied to one of the ironwood trees. They learned a few details about how ironwood trees are created, the magic that infuses them, and the spirits that inhabit them. Vala having a conversation with this dryad, naming her Pecan, of course, and who then named her tree the Pecan Tree, not to be confused as for actual pecan trees. Then
New world.
this dryad turnaround was able to accidentally, just due to her nature, charm the dragonborn paladin Orelton, who felt an overwhelming urge to protect her. And then kind of as the night progressed, that's fewer and fewer party members were really able to interact, and she became kind of shy as more people were active and aware, like awake and aware. Proceeding on, the party kind of moved through the forest a little bit longer until they were kind of distracted off to the side, noticing a large storm similar to the one that had come into existence on their first ship voyage here on the horizon, joining with an even larger storm where those two merged and then dissipated into the distance. And then pretty quickly after, you guys located a large statue that appears to be some sort of ancient tomb on this continent that you guys were pretty sure was fully uninhabited and never before discovered. Further inspection led to with Orelton climbing up, cutting the vines off of the sword being held by the statue, which realized it was not actually part of the statue itself, but something that had been set into the hand of the statue, and then finally cutting vines away from the face when you as a group realized that the statue seemed not only familiar to some of you, but to actually resemble a member of your party to some degree, Raven. And with Orelton kind of standing on the shoulder of this large statue, having just cut away the face, the three of you at the base in this forest around mid-afternoon, looking up and having this realization of familiarity, the statue. We come back.
What do y'all look and see if there's like a inscription somewhere? I mean, it looks like him, but elf is elf is elf, right?
Oh, yes, we read the inscription. It says, "Here stands Glolway, he who stood against the darkening wood."
Name sound familiar to you, Raven?
No, I have no idea who this is. He is quite handsome, though.
Well,
And he used to have a nice sword, and I'm going to make my way back over to the sword.
Okay. And are you trying to pull the sword off of the statue itself?
Sure am.
Go ahead and just give me a straight strength check. This is DC 15.
Straight strength, nothing fun, huh?
Yep. Figure something you're good at.
That remains to be seen.
Yeah, nothing fun.
Nope, it's an 8.
That's your pulling at the sword, and it's just it's solid stone. You're welcome to try again. You can keep pulling at this until you're able to get it.
I will stand like on the wrist of the arm and see if I can't like lodge it loose this time. Get a little bit of a fulcrum there.
Yeah.
There we go. How about 21?
That'll do it. That's you kind of bracing against the hand, and you yank up against the forearm, and the fingers of the statue just shatter away. And you are left holding a great sword, and it is incredibly heavy. Like the sword itself, and then the fact that the sheath that it's set into is just carved out of stone. The sheath itself is unadorned, no inscriptions, no carvings, nothing. It's just pretty much a slab of rock, roughly sword shaped, meant to sheathe this blade.
And again, once it comes out of the sheath, it's made of ironwood, right?
Yeah, that's the blade itself is made of ironwood, and it has an inscription kind of down the center of it.
Okay, I'm gonna let the stone sheath fall and just take the sword.
Drop into the ground next to you guys. Crash into the ground. It's massive thing of stone dropped from about 15 feet up.
Won't need that.
Heads up, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah, we're far enough away. Yeah, all right.
Can I look around and see if there's like a door, like into a tomb that we can maybe search into?
Yeah, you guys had kind of cleared away in between the legs. So the legs here, there's like almost a stone curtain formed by the cloak that was carved into the statue, forming like an alcove. At the base of that, there's a small cover. It looks like a metal trap door. Or can I get you? Or Will, can I get you to just move your microphone just a little bit away? I think we're catching breath. There. Perfect.
Yep. Should we try to open this?
I'm for it.
Well, I mean,
Let's maybe make sure that there isn't anything, I don't know, that might spring out at us or shoot out of the lock or something. I don't know. I don't understand traps.
well, I mean, it's obviously Ven's tomb. I mean, or his twin, one or the other. I don't see the point of not going in.
I don't have any brothers.
Well, you have someone that looks a lot like you, so...
Weren't you here to find your uncle? Do you think maybe this could be a relative of your uncle?
I mean, it's very possible. But this seems like it's been here for a while. I think this was before even the movement over here.
It makes sense why the Dryad spoke as if we had always been here. Not that humans were new.
I'm going to walk over to the door and look for traps, I guess.
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
16.
16? It does not appear to be trapped.
Kind of try to open it.
Yeah, give me an athletics check.
10.
10. It pulls a little bit, but just age and like must and everything seem to have set in, and it just seems to be kind of stuck. With any sort of assistance, we won't make you roll again. You guys are able to, like, after a couple minutes, pry it open. And it raises up, and there is just a dark hole with a ladder kind of carved into the stone leading down.
Well, I mean, if we've figured this much out, do we want to go further?
Oh, before we go, can we look at that sword that O'Relton pulled down?
I'm still standing over in front of the statue, just like trying to get the weight of it. Oh yeah. There.
Do you mind? I'm gonna look at it and see if I can read the inscription.
Yeah, it takes you a minute with your Helm of Comprehend Languages as you can go over. It is written in the same Sylvan script that was etched into the statue. It reads just one word: Faybreaker.
I would be careful with this one. It does not have a name I I fancy. It's called Faybreaker.
Sounds like
I
a
don't know.
pretty interesting name.
That sounds pretty badass to me. I'm not Fae. None of y'all are Fae, right?
No, but I don't feel that we should be breaking the Fae. There's nothing wrong with them.
Got apples in every group.
Well, I mean, just because you haven't met a Fae that has, kind of upset you doesn't mean there aren't some out there.
In any case, I think it'll be good to have handy in case something were to happen.
And I will say, Relton, as you're like kind of swinging, have been getting the weight of it. As you kind of move it around, like it feels incredibly heavy, but as you're moving it and swinging it flows, like it almost unnaturally like sets your hand. Like it feels good. Like there's kind of an energy to it that just makes it a little bit easier to swing. Yeah, a little better. You can't quite like grasp everything that's at play on it yet. You feel like you'd have to mess around with it for a while longer. But it is clearly magical.
Oh yeah, now I'm getting the hang of it.
Well, whenever you're ready playing with your new toy, we can...
Oh yeah, we can go whenever.
Okay. I'll go first and just climb my way down.
It descends about 30 feet. You have dark vision, right? Yeah. Kind of as you climb down, who's going next?
Because I'll
I'll
follow.
go next.
You can.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then
I'll go after.
Relton, and then Kai, are you following or are you staying out?
I'll follow.
Raven, you come.
Question.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. So that dark vision thing, do I have that now, like as a permanent thing, or is that only?
It was only 8 hours,
Okay.
so it's expired at this point.
I'm gonna need a light before we head down.
Let me help you out. And I'll just invisibly go over and cast dark vision on Vala.
Thank you.
You all kind of now with your dark vision, climbing down into the dark, about 30 feet. So it takes a little bit to get down. You come into just one single large room. In the center of the room, there sits a large sarcophagus. The walls are decorated with ancient murals depicting a single hero standing against a terrible force of twisted demonic enemies. There's a plaque at the foot of the sarcophagus, and below the sarcophagus, there's a large broken clay pot that have kind of adorned like etchings on the outside of the broken pieces.
You said there's ruins all around? Or like etchings?
Yeah, so the walls are covered just in these ancient murals. Pieces of like vine and grass are like poking through where the stone is somewhat eroded. And then the clay pot, the larger pieces of the broken pot show like etchings onto it as well. And then there's the plaque at the foot of the sarcophagus.
Can I walk up to the plaque and see if I can read it?
You can. You read Sylvan, right?
Yeah.
You see that, Sylvan? Yeah. The plaque reads, "Here lies Galalway, hero to his people, he who stood as a bulwark against the evil spirits of the forest. In memoriam, we of the Highbolt clan will bear his name in our tales so as to never forget the sacrifice he made to protect our home. As tribute, we have bound a champion of his enemy who will be forced to protect these hallowed grounds."
Highbolt. I know that name. That was my mother's name.
Highbolt? Your mother's name?
Yeah, that was her last name.
Like her maiden name, or?
Yeah. I didn't know about a
You have
clan.
more- Sounds like you have more ties to this continent than than you once originally thought. Although, I thought this place was unexplored.
That's what I was aware of. I thought my uncle was some of the first people over here.
Vala's gonna go over to the writing. She's gonna lay down a piece of paper and make like one of the sketch shading things so that she can get an imprint of exactly what it looks like, just in case.
Oh, rubbing.
Yeah,
A rough-
that's
yes, thank you.
yeah, and that's easy enough. You're able to go through, get a pretty. And this is of the plaque itself with the words.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's easy enough. You get a pretty good rubbing of it. That's it's pretty legible. But it is in Sylvan.
Did I hear you say something about a protector on the grounds?
Yeah, it said that it was entrusted with a protector of the grounds. Not sure what that means.
Like the tomb?
I would assume so.
So should we expect to be jumped when we go up that ladder?
I don't know.
I feel like it might not be a bad idea to leave.
Raven, could you read that one more time? I feel like the lands might refer to this entire continent, this area at least.
Yeah, if you'll read it again, because I didn't get it all.
Just that last bit.
The whole thing. I'm sorry, I can't hear it just once. I can't.
No worries. Let's go. Here lies Galalway, hero to his people, he who stood as a bulwark against the evil spirits of the forest. In memoriam, we of the Highbolt clan will bear his name in our tales so as to never forget the sacrifice he made to protect our home. As tribute, we have bound a champion of his enemy who will be forced to protect these hallowed grounds.
A champion of his enemy.
And when we were looking at the murals, he was fighting demonic forces, right?
Yeah, and let's see. Go ahead. If you're looking closer at the murals, anyone who wants to can make an intelligence check. This would be investigation.
Ooh, I do this.
14.
Nat 20.
Natural 20. Okay. Kind of going over, that's the faces of these demonic. Like at first glance, they look like demons, devils, like out of children's storybooks. But on closer, like they all have the same. With the ones that have detail remaining, they all have like wood grain pattern, human-ish faces. Like these are depictions of like fey creatures that kind of like how it would be in a story. They're twisted to just appear immediately evil. All of them having like expressions of anger, snarling teeth, things like that. Much more twisted than what you had seen from like a pecan.
The champion of his enemy. You don't think that maybe this father figure is bound?
I mean,
I
if my hypotenuse is correct, I mean, maybe.
Take a look at these etchings. They look like angry versions of Pecan. I wonder if Father was the enemy.
That's very possible. I mean, it was the Feywild that we were peeking into.
Are any of you proficient in Arcana?
No.
I don't think so.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
No.
But I mean, Fey Breaker, Pixie, calling a dude father. I mean, you can piece 2 and 2 together there, right?
It has to have some sort
There's
of relation.
Definitely some correlation there.
I'll also take a couple rubbings of some of the faces of them.
Okay. And you're doing just the mirror. So you got the plaque. You're doing the etchings of the mural.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not the whole mural. I am assuming
Yeah,
it's
but like
huge, but just
the
like
face and everything like that.
yeah, a couple important features.
Yeah, and each mural prominently features like it's like the back of like a hero in a cape, like a traditional like storybook, and he's always facing against these creatures, whatever they are.
You say there's like a tomb, or a sarcophagus, right?
Yeah, there's a large sarcophagus with the broken pot at the foot of it.
Can I walk up to it and I just want to place my hand on the chest area and just say a quick prayer?
Yeah.
To myself, I guess. So.
Depending on how long we're staying here, I'm just going to try and get a better feel for that sword.
Okay. Go through, and that's it's going to take a little while for like Vala to go through and get etchings of different pieces of the murals and everything. You attempt to attune to it. You would normally have enough time, but you realize like something. There's this. You can feel the magic, and something's stopping you. You get an idea as to what that might be. Like part of familiarizing, like you kind of get a feel for what potentially be. Go ahead and add a Faybreaker to your inventory.
I think you already did.
Oh, did I already?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Through the attunement description, there's a specific requirement, and this is part of the magic. Is it gives you an idea as to that might be. Pardon the grammar. It like auto updates to like to attune, and so when I had written it out, it's a little weird, but should get the idea across.
Do I see anything in the by that pot that was broken on the ground?
Yeah. So you go and inspect the pot, and like I said, there seems to be picking it up and looking at it. There's like arcane runes carved into larger pieces of the pot, and kind of where the base of the pot is still standing, there is a small pile of sand. Go ahead and make a either perception or actually this is going to be a survival check.
10.
10. Yeah, there's some like sand that's scattered around where the pot was.
I'm no expert in this, but I'm not familiar with these pictures, these that are on this pot, but it was containing something, and that's broken.
And anyone that's not trained in Arcana can make a intelligence check here without proficiency.
I'll play that game.
19.
17.
18.
18. Raven, you're welcome to make one as well if you like.
I'm good.
Okay. As I was gonna say, as a group, the three of you, the DC was 18. So I think one of you only rolled a 17. Okay.
I rolled a 19.
Okay. So yeah, two of you got this. Arelton and Vala kind of looking at this. Both of you being more familiar with holy magics, but again, the binding and like rune script, there's a little bit of overlap here. The etchings on the on this pot were binding something here, but it again, like where normally your backgrounds would have you at least somewhat familiar with more demonic forces and fiends, devils. The symbology is slightly changed in these runes, and it makes you think that it was geared more towards elementals. Some sort of powerful elemental was sealed in this pot, and at some point, however long ago, it was broken.
Well, that's good. That was probably the champion they were talking of, right?
So you think
Maybe.
it's been released?
Well, it's not in there anymore.
I wonder if this has anything to do with the storms. I mean, if we're releasing an elemental.
I mean, those elementals right around the ship did seem to get pretty worked up.
Also, Andrew, there's nothing about to attune. There's a lot of while attuned in here.
Oh, that's
To
let me
attune.
look at this. Like right at the top, like if you expand it, it says weapon, blah, blah, attuning. Tuning to this weapon requires. It's something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. My bad.
Can I look around and just see if there's maybe another passageway or any sort of door anywhere else?
Yeah, go ahead and make an investigation check.
Nope. That's a 3.
Nothing that you can tell. Anybody else that wants to sing Raven doing this is welcome to make an investigation check as well.
Well, guess I'm gonna ask the question. You gonna open the tomb?
I mean, I prefer to be respectful. I don't want to. I mean, it's a final resting place. I don't want to. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably better not to disturb the dead.
Not even just a peek?
I won't stop you, but I can't. Knowing that this is potentially family, I can't.
I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying there might be something in there, another clue. Maybe something etched on the inside of the casket.
Hmm.
I think you're on your own on this one.
I'm not going to be able to push it open. It's made of stone, right?
Yeah, it's a stone sarcophagus.
I'm not going to be able to open it. So, it doesn't matter to me. If we don't want to open it, we don't want to open it.
I'm
I
okay.
don't want to.
Okay.
We've got it on the map. If we need to, we can always come back.
Well, we will have it on the map. It's not on there yet.
That's true.
Feel a bit uneasy being in someone's tomb.
I agree. We should probably
I feel
leave.
like we've gathered quite a bit from this. Make our way up.
I'll go
All
out
right.
last and just kind of take one last look back and follow everybody up.
As you kind of take one last look back, kind of like climbing up almost from like the ceiling point of this tomb, give me one more survival check.
8.
Okay. Yeah. You guys make your way on out of the tomb.
Was Glowaway half elf, full elf? Based on the statue.
The statue looks like it'd be full elf.
Well, shall we continue our trek then?
Yeah, if we got that noted on the map, move on.
Yes.
What time is it about now? I would assume it's...
Mid-afternoon. You guys probably spend probably a good hour in and around the statue itself. Kind of setting on along the way. Are you guys continuing just still along the coast?
Yeah.
Here? Okay. Yeah. The remainder of this afternoon goes by without event. You guys are able to, once evening settles in, you kind of find a nice spot to make camp, as you have been doing. To Just a nice general camp area. Kind of moving through this a little bit more quickly, just because we've already had 2 nights. There's a few more to go on this journey. For this night, each of you give me your perception check for your watch.
Ooh.
And tell me who's going first, second, third, and fourth.
First.
Second.
Third.
I'll go last.
Okay.
12 for
Will,
me.
12.
So are we doing it how we did before? We're splitting it up. One watch starts, and then about halfway into it, we go halfway into the other, and then kind
And
of
that way you guys have time to chat if you'd like. Let's see. Relton, the first little like hour or so of your watch goes by. Everybody else is kind of settled in for the evening. Nobody else woken up. Looking out, you see eyes off in the forest, just in the deep shadows. You kind of focus in, and the bright yellow eyes just watching from the side. Your dark vision, you have dark vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your dark vision kind of adjusts a little bit as you're focusing on this area. And off about 60, 65-ish feet away, so on the edge of your vision, a huge wolf is just watching the party.
When you say huge, is he my size or bigger?
He's bigger than you.
Bigger than me. I will stand up and make myself just as big as possible, and just like stare right back at him and blink.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and make an intimidation check.
Kind of do that. 19.
That's you. Stand up and you just puff your chest, make eye contact, and
Flare
you see
my upper fangs a little bit.
the hackles rise, and it kind of matches your snarl, and it slowly backs into the woods until the eyes fade out of your field of vision.
I'm gonna keep watching, but specifically behind us, because I know wolves like to pan around and approach from the back. So,
I'll say, like, as you kind of turn, you hear a little ways away a low howl, and you hear footsteps from around the camp as these other large padded, like, can't quite see them. They're all a little ways away, but you hear steps as multiple start moving away back towards where the one that you scared off had gone.
Great. I will feel very confident with myself.
Who's going second?
Me.
Kai, you wake up or are woken up as you're halfway through your watch. You.
All right. 19.
19 on your perspective. So a couple times through your watch, you hear howls. They kind of increasingly grow distant and kind of start moving back a little ways, but never really growing closer to camp. Who is third?
Before I go to bed, I'm going to tell him, hey, keep an eye out. Those guys tried to walk into camp a while back.
All right. I'm going to take my water skin, hand it over to Orelton, and just sit there. You going to take it?
Yeah.
Smells familiar. Earthy smell.
I'll hand it back to you. Thanks.
I'm actually gonna. Which one of you is carrying the mushroom that like had a little steam? You had the mushroom that you.
No, I have the other mushroom.
I had the mushroom that did.
I'll say at this point, like, or else you kind of see it, like, from Kai's backpack, it started to like leak fog out, and it's just settling on like the first inch of the ground, like around camp, and it's just kind of starting to settle.
Low fog.
Yeah.
I hope when you make a drink out of that we end
That's
up
the
being
same
able
thing?
to breathe frog. That would be
Yeah,
cool.
I'm gonna have to find something to try this out on. Or try it out on myself. One of the two.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not willing to drink it, you can't expect us to. But
Exactly. After
but
the
let me know
last
if you
batch, I
need fog.
decided to kind of hang back just a little bit on what I throw in. So
Sure, a little bit of a learning curve.
a little bit.
All right. So, Aralton, you go to bed as Follow wakes up. Follow, what was your perception check?
14.
14. Okay. Similarly, you hear a few howls kind of running through the night, but
So
coming close.
just so you know, apparently on Elton's watch, there's a pretty big wolf that tried to make its way into camp.
Oh, and he didn't wake us?
Said it backed off.
It worries me. I'll keep my eye out. Thank you.
Yep. Well, good luck in the rest of your watch.
Mhm.
Vala, there's about halfway through the portion where Kai is still awake with you. It does begin to gently drizzle. Rain begins to start falling. Not too heavy, just a little bit. As the weather just kind of starts to turn, you have to hunker down. Otherwise, the rest of your watch goes by pretty uneventfully. At this point, Raven would wake up. Kai would go to sleep. Mike, what was your perception check?
12.
Oh. Same thing. It's you hear wolves in the distance, kind of moving up, kind of westerly of you. As they kind of fade, the rain gets a little bit heavier. Val goes to sleep. You finish the rest of your night alone, unless there's anything you two wanted to discuss with each other. Otherwise, the rest of your watch goes by uneventfully. You wake out in the morning to a damp, cold, rainy day.
Risk.
Yeah, it was a little chilly this morning.
Yeah.
How'd you sleep?
How many days? That was all right. I don't mind sleeping out in the
Terrible.
cold if I have to.
The last bit was a bit miserable with all the wet.
Agreed.
How many more days till Fox? I got like two, 3.
I think you've got
Thinking
3 more
about
days.
3 days. Yeah, about 3 days.
Yeah.
Hey, Vin.
Yeah.
So, you said you came here to find your uncle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, do you think your uncle might have been coming back home? Like, is this your mom's brother, or is this from your father's side?
It's my mother's brother.
So you
But
think he was just trying to come back home?
I mean, everything I've been told from my mother, I mean, they were from back where we're from.
I mean, elves live for, well, a long time.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But yeah, they were. I mean, she always told me that they were from Waithpact.
And I mean, early adopters usually not coming over here to establish civilization and then want to go back. Coming over to establish civilization to live in it, right? Imagine that's what your uncle was trying to do.
Yeah, from what I understand, he was
No.
coming out to help explore the area.
And what motivated you? Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry to interject. I just realized, Mike, give me one more survival check. That's I should have checked this before, but you have advantage on the check I was looking at.
Oh. Well, that was much better. 23.
You were thinking about this kind of over part of your watch. The sand around the clay pot, like something about it was just stuck in your head, and your time looking over the murals and everything. You realized that not like the way the sand was scattered, there were actually footprints in the sand that would have been pretty old, probably about a month or a little over a month, if you had to guess. But because it was an mostly undisturbed tomb, nothing could really mess with it. And then there was a portion of the wall that had a vaguely humanoid shape, like imprint to it, like something had walked, like the pot had broken, something stepped out of the sand that was in the pot and into the wall. And just kind of this morning, kind of talking and going back over like details in the crypt, it just clicks for you.
Wait, I think I've put something together here. There were footprints in that sand by the pot down on the tomb. Yeah,
What kind of footprints?
they were just a little old.
You know, the reason you had advantage on this is because it was an elemental.
Oh, okay. They seemed elemental of nature, and I think we might be dealing with some sort of earth elemental. If I had to take a guess, there was a section of the wall. Now that I'm remembering, that seemed to just imprint somebody walking through it.
It is kind of weird now that we're thinking about it again, that the pot was broken and there was no body on the ground. Either somebody killed the elemental or the elemental would have killed it, right?
I mean, unless
Or,
it was okay with being let free.
yeah, or maybe it broke its bonds and decided to leave.
Yeah.
Usually something has to change for it to be able to break its bonds, right?
Maybe. Well, I mean, maybe it was for a set amount of time. Maybe it was a punishment. You're to guard this tomb for 1,000 years, yada, 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 whatever.
I don't know. You think he just walked through the wall? I mean, that makes sense as an earth elemental, but that's just the way he decided to leave.
I mean, I think that's the easiest way. That way we came down wasn't the biggest gap for somebody to leave. So if it was a big elemental, I mean, why not just merge into a wall?
Yeah. I mean, cool information, but what are we going to do with it?
I don't know. It just... something clicked.
Something to...
Keep our eyes out for an earth elemental, maybe?
Yeah, I'd prefer not to run into it. Kind of hard to keep an eye out for something that's, not above ground.
I just have this sneaking feeling that something let it out. Released it from its spawn.
At this moment, Kaya's going to cast Thaumaturgy and create a small rumble underneath Raven's feet.
I draw a Faybreaker.
With my knowledge of elementals, can I tell that it's him trying to fuck with me?
I'm going to say, Kaya, make a deception check. Raven, make an insight check with advantage.
I want this to be real. I choose to believe.
21.
18.
That's cute, Kai. I appreciate the laugh, though.
Yeah, I mean, you got a little bit of comedy out of it, right?
Yeah.
For the sake of a relatant, I'm going to roll a D100. I'm going to roll. Will can see me. On 100, this will sync up where you are attacked by an elemental at the same time that. Nope.
Bummer.
on 100.
On a 100, this syncs up where you cast Thaumaturgy to make the ground rumble, and it disguised the rumbling of an actual elemental attack. just because that would have been hilarious.
Want it to happen.
Did
you want to, I don't know, go back and check it out for any reason?
I don't think there's much we'll gain from it.
We could. I don't know what this gets us, but we could see if we can't see where he came out. I mean, if he went into the wall, imagine that's, I don't know, energy consuming to travel through the earth. So maybe he came up on the surface, somewhere in that direction. I don't know.
It's a possibility. Do we want to?
Oh, about how long ago did you say?
It seemed about a month, at least a month old. But I mean, not being disturbed down there, it could have been longer.
In all reality, then, I mean, regardless of where it came up, I mean, it could be anywhere at this point. I mean, a month or longer. I mean,
probably long gone. I mean, with the rain last night and
I mean the razor vine, and I'd prefer not to go trekking through the forest if we can avoid it.
I mean, that's kind of our job right now.
Hell yeah, but I mean, we have this nice, comfy path along the cliffside here, making our way over the folks. I mean, either way, we're doing our job.
Sure.
We don't have to go into the middle of the forest to do it. We can stay along the edge, for now.
For now, yeah.
Why don't we take a look on our way back?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, might as well not travel the same way we came in, right?
I mean, I don't care either way. I was just throwing out suggestions.
Figure a few days ain't gonna make any difference. It's been gone for a month or more.
Yeah. All right.
Load them up.
All right. Yeah. So you guys are just continuing on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You continue on for another hour or so from your camp. The rain settling in. And you come across what looks like a path into the forest, like an animal run. And this isn't going to require a roll or anything. There's a large area where there's some like smaller trees that have been bent and broken. Grass is torn and pushed, and there's a couple random sprays of blood. And then on this path, occasionally there's another like small pool of blood and large dragging scuff marks.
That wolf got what he's looking for, huh?
Must have been hungry.
Can I take a look at the tracks and see if I can designate?
Yeah, go ahead and make a survival check.
Vol's going to keep lookout for anything that might still be around.
20.
20 is plenty. You see large paw prints, and there's like a piece of broken horn going over, very much like tracking. Be like, here there is a massive elk grazing. Here the footsteps as one wolf approached from the back, as one start like you do like full Aragorn Ranger this, where you're like recreating the entire series of flashes in your mind as you're seeing exactly what happened. You find a broken little piece of antler. That's the wolves here found, grabbed whatever it was they were hunting and pulled it off. Your guess, based on the hoof shape, everything like that, is some sort of large. It looks like an elk. There's that one single like piece of broken horn or antler in the ground. Go ahead and make it just a nature check. It was just a nature check.
9.
Yeah, that's what you got.
Okay. I'll grab the piece of broken antler and hang on to that.
Okay.
It looks like they were definitely hungry and they found similar food that we've been eating, so
well,
maybe explain why they were coming in towards camp.
Better it than us.
I agree.
Can you tell how long ago they may have caught their catch?
His blood's still pretty fresh.
Oh yeah, on a 20, I'd say within the last like 3 hours.
Okay. Looks like early morning.
Yeah. We're definitely within their hunting grounds, I imagine.
But that means they're not hungry anymore. Hopefully.
Maybe.
I mean, as long as that was enough to feed all of them.
Yeah, let's not stick around to find out.
I agree.
All right. Y'all continue on. I'm going to just make a little mark on your map for... change the color of that, actually. Just so I know where that is. Boop. You guys continue on. Rest of the day goes by mostly uneventfully. Raven, go ahead and give me your survival check at advantage. Just finding your way through, following the path.
23.
3. Yeah. Easy enough. You're continue on through the rest of the day. Making camp. Do you guys want to run the same order of your watches?
It's fine with me.
I'm good with it.
Okay. I'll just run through it. Relton, go ahead and give me a
6.
6. Gotcha. Your watch goes by seemingly uneventfully. Takes us to Vala. If I can give your perception check.
Isn't Kaya before me?
Oh, Kaya.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
3.
3. As far as you know, everything goes by. You fall asleep during your watch. You are woken up by Orelton to begin your watch, and then Orelton again as your watch, like his watch comes to an end. He wakes you back up, and then wakes up Vala as well to keep watch with you for your second half. Yeah, because it goes Vala, and then Raven brings up the tail. Go ahead and give me your perception check. Vala.
24.
24. Interesting.
No, my buddy is not watching, so
Sorry. That rain from last night made me real sleepy.
Me. You got a 24, you said?
yeah. I rolled a 17, and my perception is 7.
Excellent. You're keeping your watch. Kaya has like kind of dozed off, and you kind of reach over, shake him. Kaya, you get woken back up. And as you kind of reach over and shake him, looking past him, coming out of the darkness, you see like an owl. Ooh. Ooh. And behind the owl's face, stepping out of the shadows into where your lack of dark vision, so it is into camp. The who turning into this deep growl. An owl bear steps out. Okay.
Oh, mother.
Oh.
Kaya! I'm just gonna, like, shake and say his name
What's the matter?
and point.
You turn,
that.
and Kaya, it is right behind you.
Ah,
You turn and are face to face. I'm going to need everybody to roll initiative here.
Oh, shit.
Apologies for the AFK. Gonna get a quick catch up.
There was Vala looked off into the forest behind Kaya. She woke him back up, and there was an owl, a giant owl with a bear's body. There's an owl bear strode into camp.
Great. Probably can't intimidate that one out of here, can we?
that was probably his. Oh, you're gonna intimidate my wolves, are you? All right, fuck you. Intimidate this.
Oh, you can think that if you want, but I'm legitimately every night I'm just rolling on a table to see if anything happens, and if anything happens, I have another table that tells me what. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna use this icon.
Which side would you like me on, boss?
We're gonna put you you're the spellbook, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna say it's coming up right here. And so it came like out of the woods. And you turned around and it was nearly face to face.
It's time to wake up, friends.
This music is perfect.
All right. And let's go. Vala, what's your initiative?
6.
6. Kaya.
6.
Orelton.
13.
Oh, sorry. 8.
And Raven.
21.
21. So, Vala reaching out, being like, behind you, waking all of you up. Raven, you are the first springing to your feet, turning around and seeing this owlbear behind you. What do you do?
Let me take a look. Let's see. I'm going to move to here. And I'm going to pull out my bow and take a shot at it.
Okay. Go ahead and make an attack.
Uh, 10.
10 misses.
Okay, I'm going to do my second attack.
You go for it.
13.
13 hits.
Okay, cool. Uh, 5 points of damage.
5 points of damage. That's your arrow thuds into one of its shoulders, and it like kind of steps back, pulling the arrow out of its own shoulder with its beak, and then just snapping it in half. Anything else you're doing with your turn?
Then with my Dread Ambusher, I'm going to take another attack.
Okay. Go for
That's going to hit. That's 23. Or 26, sorry.
Yeah, no, that absolutely hits.
And we talked this one's 2d8 because it's an extra d8, right?
Yeah, it's an extra d8 of damage.
So that is 13 points of damage.
13. That's as it like pulls out one arrow, snapping it while looking at you. Your third arrow slams into like one of its legs, causing it to buckle a little bit, and it stands back up, letting out a hoot growl.
And then, since I forgot, with my bonus action, I'm going to go and cast Hunter's Mark at this point.
Just for ambiance's sake, can you give us an example of what a hoot growl sounds like?
Yeah, you've got a Syrinscape open, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There
Okay,
you go.
I'll take it.
That's it.
Not quite as good as if you had acted it out yourself, but I'll take it.
I legitimately, like, my brain is not processing how to actually do it. Nope.
No.
I thought about starting to do it. Oh, no, that's not gonna. That's gonna
Not gonna
come
work.
out.
And
All
that's it.
right.
That's the rest of my stuff.
Okay, which brings us to Orelton.
So as I roll off my sleeping mat, do I know if I try and use Faybreaker, will I actually get like the non-attuned bonuses, like the +2 to attack and damage?
Yes, it still functions as a +2. You might have to override that.
Okay. Then I will roll off my sleeping mat and grab Faybreaker, and I will rage as I charge towards the owlbear.
Or actually, let me double check. You would not get the +2 bonuses unless it was attuned. Sorry.
No worries. I will do the same thing because it's just as good as my greatsword unattuned, and it looks cooler.
Yeah, it's a badass looking sword.
10, 15, 20, 25, 30. and I will take my swing into the owlbear.
Okay.
16 and 6, 22, right?
Yep, that'll hit.
2d6. I'm actually gonna divine smite into him as well.
Great. This is going to be fun for me to not be able to do anything.
So 2d6 plus 3 plus rage. 4 and a 6 is 10, plus 13 plus 2, which is 15. And then 2d8 divine smite. Wow. So 15 slashing damage and 12 radiant.
All right. It's still standing, but your blade cleaves into the side, just burning fur and feathers as it cuts through it with the radiant damage. It does not fall. What else are you doing?
As a bonus action, I will scream in its face.
Did you rage?
I rage, so I cannot do that as a bonus action. As a free action, I will scream in its face?
Yeah, you can scream in his face as a free
Okay,
action.
cool.
It's fine. Kaya?
Kaya?
Grr.
Eat me!
That's as you
Yeah.
cleave into it and roar, just that green kind of noxious mist fumes at the sides, that draconic heritage just pouring out, almost like a fog reminiscent of what's pouring out of Kaya's backpack, just dropping from your mouth. Doesn't
Nice.
do anything, but it's cool shit.
Hell yeah.
Kaya,
Yeah.
turn around to face this.
Kaya's going to stand up, turn around, grab his crystal, and he's going to cast Hold Person.
It is not a person.
But doesn't it work?
I think
Still?
Hold Person only works on
Oh, it's
humanoids.
humanoid. It's humanoid. Okay.
Kaya would know this, potentially.
Kaya would know this.
We're not going to burn a spell slot there unless you turn.
Yeah, that's my bad. I did not realize it was only for humans. Or
No worries.
humanoids.
That's what you get a whole
Um,
monster later that
yeah.
does that. But
Gotcha. Okay. Well then, backup plan. I'm gonna cast Sleep in. Let's see, probably this area over here.
yes, you can catch it without catching a Relton. Go ahead and roll your d8s.
Okay, it's at second level, by the way.
Okay, so what is it? That's a 5d8?
2 more D8.
Or it's a
6.
78?
So there's 5d8. So second, an additional 2d8. So yeah, 78.
Goddamn.
You have to... I'm going to be amazed if you don't do this. Tell me if you hit 14.
Well, I've already hit 14.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it
Time to hibernate.
falls to the side.
And from there, I'm going to the other side of the fire. Whoops. 2, 3, 5.
Owlbear falls asleep. That lasts 1 minute or until concentration is broken, correct?
Yep.
All right. It's going to spend its turn snoozing. Vala, what would you like to do?
Is it dead?
It's asleep.
It's sleeping.
Oh. How long?
Not long. Kill it.
Okay.
You should probably kill it.
Then Vala is going to cast as her bonus action Shield of Faith, which will look like a shimmering of almost like frost all over her skin. So she'll now have a +2 bonus for her AC, and then she is going to cast Toll the Dead on this poor owlbear. And since he's taken damage before, it's going to be 2d12 worth of necrotic damage if it hits.
Okay.
Which it probably won't. Wait, since it's asleep, do I get advantage?
No, because you're attacking at range.
Ah, right. That's not good.
Double check. Conscious.
I imagine it's the same thing as paralyzed, which paralyzed.
Oh
only
no,
does-
you do actually have advantage. Sorry.
Oh, really?
Okay, good. 'Cause that was a 2. Oh, 19. Okay.
19 will hit. Unconscious and paralyzed are different.
Yeah, I mean, it does essentially the same thing, but that's weird.
Well, things don't immediately become unparalyzed if you hit them.
True, true.
That's going to be 9 damage.
Okay. Two. And it like wakes up.
There'll be
It's
a
not
loud
its
booping
turn.
sound. Sorry.
You're good. It does wake up. It is still alive. You're doing anything else with your turn? You use your action, your bonus action.
That was it.
Movement. Okay.
That's all.
All right, Raven. There is a large, heavily wounded owlbear on the ground in front of you. It is prone, so you'll have disadvantage on your range attacks.
Even with sharpshooter?
Yeah, because it's prone.
Okay.
That's just range attacks have disadvantage on it.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and just shoot 2
Which
more arrows.
actually,
at it.
no, I'm going to say you don't have disadvantage because if sharpshooter can shoot through a hole the size of a quarter from 600 feet away. I don't think something laying down is more protected than
I'm on
something that's
the ground, can't get
mostly
me.
behind. Yeah, mostly behind a wall. I'm going to say sharpshooter negates your disadvantage here.
Okay. I'm just going to shoot 2 more arrows at it.
Okay.
That's not going to hit. So we'll just move on to shot 2.
Okay.
And I don't know if that one hits. 13.
13 hits
Okay, cool.
on the bean.
13 points of damage.
That's it kind of starting to like stand up after it being woken up so rudely by Vala, and as it turns and begins another hoot growl, there you go. Your arrow just strikes it in the mouth, piercing through the back, and its eyes kind of go cross-eyed a little bit, and it just slumps back.
Nice.
Very nice of it to wake us up.
That's great.
I couldn't see into the dark far enough.
Yeah, I thought Vala was watching my back while I was watching hers, and well, here comes
You
the
were
back.
sleeping.
I'm inclined to believe Vala on this one. We've all
Yeah,
seen
I've
this
seen it.
happen.
You guys think I would lie to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only everything that comes out of your mouth.
I mean, I wouldn't say everything. Look, that tree's green.
All right, so now we're down to like 98%.
I mean, like I said, not everything.
I will take a dagger, which is probably still by my sleeping stuff, and then go back to the owlbear and see if I can't start skinning it.
I'll help him in that.
Yeah, go ahead and give me survival checks. Either one of you can make it with advantage, or
Go
you
for
can
it.
each make your individual check.
I'll make it with advantage, I guess.
Have fun with that, friends. I'm gonna go back to sleep.
Okay.
Do owlbears have any kind of medicinal value in anything they have?
Go ahead and make a medicine check.
Okay.
3?
21.
Oh, 21. Okay, I'm like 3. Yeah. What was your medicine check?
21.
All right. We'll start with Relton. You going through it and skinning. That's there. The bits where like the fur mingles with feathers, it doesn't have much use. It's like chicken skin. Like it wouldn't be that great, but as you get kind of down past the shoulders to the mid back, it's very thick for like bear pelt. You can skin that. You get like one of its feet. You're able to get like whole. Can be used taxidermically to create like a lantern stand kind of deal if you'd like.
Cool.
Like any bits and pieces like that. Vala, in the southern isles of Thermun, down in the Feldenwaith, they use the ground beak of an owlbear is commonly used in potions to enhance virility. The claws to increase strength and make one more masculine. Usually ground and used in a tonic or a tablet, anything like that, mixed in with tea in the morning. It's really all the medicinal quality of an owlbear that you're familiar with. And you think it might be kind of a scam. But
I'll collect them anyways.
yeah.
The owlbear has been poached into extinction from people trying to gain its vitality-like beak.
Does anybody want the, I guess, paws of this thing? I hear they can like be really cool mounted holding your sword above your mantelpiece, but if you don't want them, I'll leave them here.
I'll take the actual claw portion of them.
Oh, well,
Oh, are you gonna make a necklace out of it?
here's the hooves. Or the paws.
I actually was thinking about you in your brewing ventures. The beaks and claws of owlbears have actually been used to improve virility and masculinity.
Sounds like a scam, but I
Might be a
might
great
bring in
way-
some coin.
Way to market your brew.
Exactly. It may not be a bad idea.
Everybody
If you can
needs
get
to
the taste. If you can avoid the taste, I imagine the taste probably isn't that good. I can give it a shot.
Do I think that there's a way that I could store or like prepare the meat in a way that it wouldn't spoil before we got back to camp?
Yeah, I would say part of your background, like that feature, like you can pretty easily preserve, like you've got salts and things like that you can use to cure. The remainder of like your watch, you have 2 hours left on your watch. You could probably get the fire going up enough and actually begin to smoke the meats to cure them. So you could probably, we'll say from an owlbear, you can easily get like 15 days worth of rations of just like smoked and salt cured owlbear meat.
Okay.
So you can just add like 15 rations to your pack. On that line, actually, Raven, your watch would go by pretty uneventfully through the remainder of the night. And you guys wake up in the evening, and let me check this. Morning comes. It's still drizzling, like it's drizzled all through the night before, and it shows no sign of letting up. Continuing through into the morning, as you all break camp, continue on your way on the second to last day of your journey. There we go. Mike, if I can get, or Raven, if I can get your survival check, and if I can get perception checks from everybody else in the party.
So while it's drizzling, I am going to continually cast Shape Water to keep just like a cone over the top of my head to keep all the water.
Just easy to, yeah, that's with just a cantrip. You're just pretty much holding the finger up. You're just umbrellaing yourself.
11 on my survival.
Ooh.
Still enough not to get lost.
19 on my perception.
19 on your perception. Same? And Orelton? 3. Orelton, you can't help but just watch as you're just like rain and water in your eyes and everything. Kaya in front of you is just clearing the water above himself. It's holding your, like, there's everything you're paying attention to is just the fact that he's just this pompous prick.
I'll see if I can't like fill up a hand of water and then just throw it through his spell. See if that works.
let's go with an attack roll versus. So this is not going to be against AC. This is going to be an opposed spell attack modifier. So you each. What's your attack modifier? Will?
That's a great question. Hold on.
And
+6.
And David, what's your spell attack modifier?
+7.
So it's gonna. You have to beat Will's roll by 1. Or no, Will has to beat your roll by 1.
We'll just add the hit, and he'll add the spell hit.
Yeah.
He probably beat me.
We're such dicks to each other.
Oh yeah. So that's with the spell attack. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, with the spell attack.
Oh yeah, 22.
Yeah, that's you. Like, don't even pay attention. You're just like the magic kind of like you feel like an incoming surge of water, and you just flick it to the side, or you just throw a handful of water at him. You just watch it just get scattered around him.
Bullshit. I'm gonna start looking for mud.
Vala and Kaya, you guys notice as you're walking, Raven kind of leading you through. There's another animal trail that you run across, and this one cuts off very similar to where the wolves were at, but this one has human footprints.
Wait, so it's just human footprints, or it's wolf and human footprints?
Just people tracks. Like there's some like small game, like you see like rabbit and deer tracks and things like that, but most noticeably there are human tracks that run down kind of past you towards the cliffside you've been walking on the top of, and then running back in the forest.
We didn't happen to come past this way when we wrecked on the ship, did we?
You actually all walked along the base of the cliffs towards the water's edge, and you have actually since passed that point.
Far past it, right?
Yeah, you're about 2 days past where you had shipwrecked and had to walk from.
And how far away are we from Falks?
You're about 2 days away. This is pretty early in the morning of your second to last day, and you're about 4 days from Harlan's Landing.
It's kind of odd to have footprints all the way out here.
Yeah.
Did you notice these footprints?
No, sorry, I was looking at other things. Where do they go?
Kaya?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like maybe that way.
Question: do they look approximately the same size as the footprints that we saw outside the rift?
Go ahead and make a survival check.
Outside the... Oh, yeah.
There was the...
23.
23. Which set of footprints are you asking about? Because they are approximately the same size as like the smaller pair of footprints outside of Alisandra's Rift.
The ones like there was that mound or whatever, and then like 2 footprints, and then it disappeared again. Like somebody landed there.
Oh, they're smaller than that. These appear to be like medium humanoid. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Ven.
Yeah.
This just kind of clicked with me. So remember how you said the thing in the tomb just kind of went right into the wall?
Yeah.
You remember at the rift there was that mound of stuff? Like something had gone into the ground?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that correlates?
I mean, it's possible. Did the footprints seem like they were about the same size?
Those did.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not even with your elemental background. I'm not even gonna have you roll for
Gotcha.
that. That's...
Come to think about it, those were the same size.
Well, I think we found out where it comes out at.
How old are these footprints?
These are in the mud, so within the last day.
These seem pretty fresh.
These weren't elemental footprints, though, right?
These are not elemental footprints. No.
Yeah, these seem more human. And I'm guessing they go off into the forest, right? Is that what you said?
They go off into the woods.
In which direction?
Let me check my compass here. Like northeast.
Okay.
Kind of more towards the center of the woods.
I wonder if these footprints here might be from maybe some of the exiles.
That's what I was wondering. Do we want to take a look? Follow him for a little bit?
It's not too much of a diversion from Fox.
I mean, it
I'm
might
glad he
add
does.
on a half a day or so, but depending on how far they go, or if we can find them as
Might-
we enter into the forest.
Might be worth just seeing if
It's hard to
they
say.
lead to any of those symbols that have been carved on trees.
True.
So,
So,
can't hurt to
okay,
follow for an hour or two.
here's the question that I have for you guys. Say we find these exiles' encampment. Do we say anything about it?
No.
No, why would we?
I think we just need to assess what we're potentially looking at here.
Okay.
We don't know their story.
Plus, why would anybody at Harlan's Landing care? I mean, these people were just exiled.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, being exiled.
true.
I mean, we
I
could
just
mark
don't
it
want
on
to
the map,
start.
but
I just don't want them to think that, oh no, they're too close. They need to go somewhere else and tear down what they have built. I guess that's kind of my problem with it. But either way, if we're not saying anything about it, then we're not saying anything about it. So
yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
if they,
feel like I know the mayor well enough to know how he'll react, and I'd prefer to keep it just between us.
agreed.
I'm also not sure that these are the those footprints. Do you remember when Alessandra was talking about the mean lady?
Yeah, it could have been.
I feel that a single pair of footprints that was so close to where we saw an elemental, and we know that this woman can somehow step into the Fey world. I think this might be the woman that we're following here.
Which could potentially mean we're running into another puppetry. If that's the case.
Maybe.
Well,
I
let's
don't think we know enough about it to say without going and looking.
let's follow it for
We
about an
don't.
hour
We
and
don't.
see where it goes.
I mean, this
Up to
mean
you,
lady,
man.
I mean, this mean lady, we don't know if Father's a good person. I mean, yeah, sure, talking to some of the Fae people, the two of them anyway, they seem to praise Father, but I mean, for all we know, it's kind of a cult following. I mean, maybe they're brainwashed. This mean lady, same thing. I mean, we know nothing about her. Don't know if she's good, don't know if she's bad. I mean, I feel like we just should probably, I'm not saying keep to ourselves, but just be on guard.
Yes.
Well, I say we follow it for an hour and see where it goes.
Let's go.
Okay.
And I'll lead the charge.
I'll cut into the forest. It's a pretty clear path. Now that you're like continuing on this path, it looks initially like an animal run, but you notice there's clear points where like a branch was covering the path that has been like sawed away to open up the path to make it easier to come through. You guys make it probably about 45 minutes or so into this hour, you said. No perception check needed. There's a large arrow carved into one of the trees. And below it, there is a knife stabbed into the tree with a small bag.
Well, I guess that kind of answers the question then.
Yeah, it looks like this could be pathways to the
Do we know?
exiles.
Do we know if it's not just Harlan's Landing that's exiling people? Is it?
From actually, basically, like when you were at Elrond's exilation, exiling. I don't know what the verb of exiling somebody is. When he was exiled, Renault commented on even like Nalbrund wouldn't violate the concords here, which is like the three main settlements. If they exile anybody, and I just realized I've got the wrong stuff done. If they exile anybody, none of the other settlements can help that person bearing the brand. And so where they may still be executing or dealing with crimes in different ways, that's all three of them are exiling people.
Let's see.
But maybe for different levels of crimes, is what you're saying.
Yeah, Harlan's Landing seems to exile just everyone for, like, if they cause a problem against settlement, they get branded and cast out. You've only seen the one person actually get branded and cast out.
Okay.
Do you think
Fair
that's
enough.
just rations that they're leaving for him?
Either way, regardless if we look or not, we should leave it.
I'm gonna look. I will do so.
Looking into the bag, there are some rations, mostly berries, a piece of kind of damp, dried meat, some strips. There's 2 days worth of rations and a note.
I'll read the note.
The note says, continue on this path for 2 days. We have a place you'll be safe. Do not cut living wood for fire, and do not hunt for more than you need. Will explain. And then it is signed.
Sounds like they know more than what Harlan's Landing does. Or maybe Harlan's Landing just doesn't care.
That's all right. Got it.
Rachel just had a realization of something.
It is signed Mythelie.
Lie.
Signed Mythelie?
Yep, signed by someone named Mythelie.
Let you correct the spelling on that, but
Oh, Relton, how much does it
spelled it so different.
seem like they're leaving him?
Probably eat on this for 2 days if you're your size. And I'll stab it back into the tree.
If you would, add these to it, and I'll throw him 2 rations.
Sure.
Unstab it, put them in, stab it back on again.
I wonder who these were intended for.
The exiles, I'd imagine.
Just any old exile that came along? Happened to find it?
I mean, maybe.
I think so.
I would
Can't
assume
imagine they were intended for us.
Well, sure.
I would assume any exile or any exile community would be willing to welcome those that find them.
See, and I had imagined it more as like a free for all type of community. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're all in the same group, but every man for himself.
Doesn't appear to be that way.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. If they seem to be taking account. Our dryads, our tree friends do not cut extra wood or overhunt.
Right.
I don't know if that's because they view them as enemies or if they view them as friends, but I sure hope
They're at
they
least
view
aware.
them as friends.
Yeah, they're at
Well,
least aware of them.
And they're even doing it for the non-ironwoods. You haven't seen a dryad in a non-ironwood tree, right?
No, but Pecan sure appreciated the fact that we only picked up deadwood, that we didn't cut down any of the trees.
So here's kind of my take on it. I feel like the ironwood's a special tree that watches over an entire grove. As opposed to, just the solitary tree. They're watching over the trees in the area, the woodlands in the area. Maybe that's why they're a special tree.
I mean, everything's lining up with what the tablet said as well. Like, protect, don't take. Seems that we need to follow on that path.
This might cause some problems taking this back to the landing. Because they're here to make profit, and these ironwood trees is what they're going for.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll know how to fish.
See what happens.
So it's been almost an hour, like 45 minutes is what it took for you guys to get to kind of this point. Are you continuing on the path or heading back, continuing towards Falks?
All right, I'm just going to say it. I want to send somebody to the camp.
Send somebody?
I do. If all of us show up, it obviously will not be. It obviously isn't all of us were exiled at the same time.
None of us were. None of us are branded.
I
I mean,
know. I just.
they're gonna know about the brand.
I just want to know what's there.
I mean, I might be able to do something about the brand, and I'm gonna cast minor illusion on myself to make it look like I have the brand, which I believe will last for 1 hour.
So the image overlays in your hand. It looks correct, but you are aware that if anybody like touches it or gets a close look on it, it's not like a risen image. It looks really good from even a couple feet away, but upon closer inspection, like anybody that even sought to like was close enough to touch it would be able to recognize it as would most likely recognize it as an illusion.
It
And I
looks like it's only for 1 minute.
And that's all well and good, but if we're trying to start a legitimate relationship with this group of people, probably not best to go in with deception.
No.
Maybe
I mean, if we go in hands up and friendly, I don't think we're just going to get attacked on sight for not being exiles. But I could be wrong. Who knows?
Maybe they want to keep the camp somewhat of a secret, but I guess if they wanted to keep it a secret, it wouldn't be these big old arrows on the trees.
Should we maybe learn more about Falk's handling of these people before we press in?
I am interested
Not a bad idea.
in getting Falks's take on it. I would say, because we're going to be coming back this way regardless. I mean, maybe we take a slightly different way. Maybe we find another arrow around the outskirts of Falks. I mean, who knows? But I feel like we should definitely hit up Falks and see their governing strategies and maybe get a lay of the land on that side. And who knows? Maybe they have something of interest for us in general. And we can also talk about see if the scouts hadn't come back yet. I don't believe from Falks when they were going to try to open a trade route through them, and as well as let them know to send someone back to no longer send.
Those
boats.
those scouts had like come back. The ones that went to
They
Falks,
had returned.
They came back and they had some grains, and they said Falks was gonna send more.
Okay, so they did return. Okay.
Which now that that's come up, anybody in the party that would like can make an intelligence check.
12.
16.
16 as well.
16.
I didn't.
You're more than half the distance between Falks and Harlan's Landing. You're 2/3 of the way there. The scouts said that the people that were coming with goods were like following just like a day or two behind them. Based on what you had, unless like they went straight through the forest, which you guys took the easiest route kind of across.
We haven't run into them.
You have not run into a caravan.
Great.
Like a trader, anybody that would have been bearing like enough goods.
Strange that we haven't seen them yet.
Well, here's kind of my thought. As bad this, as shady as this might seem, maybe it was the exiled encampment. Because, I mean, they need supplies as well.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to get food.
Yes, but I mean, I don't think we could blame them for that.
I think we
I wouldn't necessarily blame them, but at the same time, if something's not done about it, Harlan's Landing is either going to take that as a flat out lie from folks, or worse, a declaration of war from the exile camp.
That's true. Um,
I mean, I hate to be a broken record, but do we push forward to Folks and find out their path that they prefer to take for trade route? I mean, this is the easiest path, but maybe they have a safe path.
I mean, either way, if we make it all the way to Folks and then we find out different, I mean, I imagine we're going to make it back to the exile camp before at least Arlen's Landing, because they're going to wait a couple extra days just in case of bad weather or whatever.
And it
I
would look bad
imagine-
on us. It would look bad on us if we charge into the exile camp saying, "Hey, you stole our shit,"
Right.
and
Right.
turns out that Falks never sent it for whatever reason.
Right.
So maybe we talk with Falks. It's not a one endpoint or the other endpoint. It's somewhere in the middle. Just my thoughts.
I say we start making our way out there then.
Yeah, I say Folks is probably the way to go, just for information reasons, and I doubt Harlan's Landing's going to do anything for at least another week.
Okay, and then so if you guys are continuing on towards Falks, are you heading back to the shore and continuing that way, or are you going through the forest? I know you mentioned you were going to like look for other paths. Are you going to like leading that direction? Are you going through the forest to do that, or are you cutting back and following along the coast?
Whichever's quicker, but I'd leave that to Raven.
I mean, if we're going to go as straight as the crow flies, I mean, we could go at a diagonal pace towards the coast, but I don't know what that would look like. I mean, yeah, I'd definitely leave it up to Raven.
does it appear that the presence of Razorvine is as heavy as it was in the other areas?
Here deeper in the forest, it is actually thinning up. It's the trees themselves are denser and closer together, but it's not like that ominous, like reaching vines and things like that seem to be growing on everything. You see the occasional patch of razor vine, but the forest seems much, for lack of a better term, happier here.
Okay. You know what? Let's cut through. See what this is like. We've seen the coast.
Sure. Defer to you.
So and with this being forest.
Yeah, I won't even require a check. It's full forest. This is a favorite terrain for you. Able to continue on. The night comes, and not to waste time on it, you seem like your guys' watches all go by without event. The next day comes about. Morning rises. Unless there was anything you guys individually on your watches like wanted to talk about. That's again, the forest here seems content. You're in the depth of the forest where it's like encroaching in on you. What you all kind of assumed would be like scary, deep, like more the razorvine tree you anticipated. Everything seems calm. Animals seem like all just like not scared of you, like squirrels and small game, things like that don't rush away. That's they seem unfamiliar with people in general.
If a squirrel gives me an opportunity, I'm going to take a little bit of that mushroom and offer it to a squirrel, or even really anything that would attempt to take it.
Okay, we're gonna say you're kind of walking through. You guys are going through this forest, and it is pretty lush. Like we're talking, like you've gotten to a point that it's moved to like pine trees growing amongst the standard deciduous trees. And you're crunching through, and a large hare like kind of is watching the party go by. Kai, you notice this, and you kind of like crouch down and hold out a piece of the mushroom. Go ahead and make an animal handling check. You hold it out. It kind of approaches and sniffs.
3.
And you kind of lunge forward to almost to catch it, to give it the food, and it runs off, it sprints off to the side.
Yeah, that didn't work. All right, well, on to the next.
And I just want to, for purposes, any night that we've spent in the forest, Not necessarily back on the shore, but now that we're in the forest, I just want to take a moment to try to connect with nature again.
Okay, that's for this last night. Go ahead, just roll a D100 for me. This is extending yourself into the forest. It's
100.
You rolled a 100.
Yep.
What?
3 zeros, right?
You become the forest.
An elemental attacks us.
Wow.
You're on your watch. This is part of your watch that Kaya has you're overlapping with Kaya. He's fallen asleep, but it's kind of fine. Like you feel safe here. You're sitting. You throw another small branch on the fire, and kind of looking about. You look up, and there is a woman. She appears to be half elven. She is dressed mostly in black. She has long, leather boots that cover all the way up to her knee, that seem to be scraped and scarred. And she has a brand on the back of her hand. But the brand it looks like it almost has stitches of green vine that are growing through it and have pulled and are slowly starting to heal the skin. And she's just sitting across the fire looking at you. She goes, "You've been reaching out to the Father." And she's speaking quietly so as to not wake everybody up. "He's heard you, child of the wood. What are you and your companions doing here?"
Learning.
I see that. And she looks to your pile of gathered wood. She goes, "Did you learn this from before? Or did you learn this from my note?"
I've always known this, but I
That's
believe
good.
my companions have learned from the note.
Good. It wasn't really left for you, but this is a good place to not take more than you need. Make an insight check.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. She'll say something, and as soon as she said it's good to know to not take more than you need, her eyes just flick to a Relton and the sword beside him. She doesn't say anything. Her eyes flick back. It was just a passing moment but you made out exactly what she was looking at. Beyond that, there is an air of not open hostility, but a layer of danger underneath. Just every move, she seems tensed. If you had to guess, it was because she's here because she was asked to be here, not because she necessarily wanted.
I appreciate your guidance.
It was, like I said, not really meant for you or your companions, but it's good to learn. What has Renault sent you to do?
To explore.
Likely. And did he tell you anything about us, those of us that he's cast out?
He doesn't speak much of it.
Don't trust Renault. He uses his position and the privileges afforded to him by it to throw out those of us that disagree with him. I simply wanted to balance with nature. He seeks to command it. He didn't take kindly to my advice that we should no longer cut the ironwood trees. This is before I even learned what I know now.
You said he wants to command it.
Like most men, he seeks to conquer what he doesn't understand. This forest is an opportunity to grow rich, to grow powerful, and to take it home to him, back to where he comes from, back to Gormund. He wants to live a rich man. He cares not for the people that follow him or the people that lived here before. Those that inhabit this land have more of a claim to it than he does. And he breaks their spirits by cutting into the forest as he has. There will be a reckoning. I've been told to answer any questions you might have to the best of my ability, but I have not the patience for many.
Can I get your name?
My name's Mythelie. I would have imagined that Renault would have told you about me.
It seems that he hasn't told us to keep us on his end, if the things that you say are speaking is true.
They are.
This reckoning that you're speaking of, is there anything we can do to avoid that?
You can be on the right side of it. Beyond that, Renault and the other leaders of the camp, as far as I and the Dow are concerned, they've dug their own graves.
You said the dower?
The Dow, D-A-O.
And if we were to come upon your people, how can we come in peace?
Come without weapons brandished. I know your faces. I can pass that information on to those that keep watch of my camp. You've already found one of the paths leading there. It's not hard to find. If you come in hostility, if you come on the orders of Renault, I'll know. We'll know, and we'll be waiting. We will not be cast aside again, cast from our homes that we've built in accordance with the laws of this land. And she leans back, and she begins to cast a spell, and there's an air of mist that kind of fills the spot she was, that drops to the ground, and she's gone.
Oh, damn.
That's what 100 gets you, and I ask you to roll a D100, you motherfucker.
A D100 and a natural 20? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, that's...
Okay.
Very nice.
Ooh, all the answers.
All right. Well, we'll continue our path.
yeah.
Are you gonna
Yes.
tell any of us about it?
Maybe in a
We'll
little
all
bit.
wake up in the morning. I will say that, Vala, you had the last watch today. But the rest of all of your watches go by. You continue on in the day. Raven able to lead.
Oh, Relton, can I speak to you for a second?
Yeah, what's up?
And I'll kind of move to where we aren't heard by the others.
And secretive, I see.
I think taking that sword was a mistake.
Why?
I've been trying to talk with nature, and there's some signs that that might be something we weren't meant to have, taking more than we're allowed to.
So the trees told you that I shouldn't have this sword.
We'll say yes for now.
Okay. Well, where I come from, if somebody doesn't stop you from taking it, it's up for the taking. So if somebody else wants this, they can take it from me.
I would implore that you rethink that mentality. I know I can't take it from you. You're much bigger and stronger than I am. But maybe listen to the signs that come your way and consider it.
Sure. I haven't heard anybody else to tell me to put it down except you so far.
Okay. And I'll continue leading.
Okay. You all continue on, moving through. This is you'll have one more like full day of travel before actually reaching Falks. You should be able to reach Falks either by pushing out in the night or in the next morning. For this, as you kind of go through the day, the rain that has been kind of drizzling lightly over the last 2 days kind of lets up a little bit. It's still overcast. Going through, or I'm imagining you a couple more times try to.
I'm going with mud this time.
All
Shape
right.
water. Let's see if he shapes Earth.
All right.
Chuck a mud ball at him.
Yeah, go ahead and make an attack roll. Don't worry, David. This is just going to be against your AC because you're not casting Shape
Well,
Earth.
I will say it turns into a dirt clod instead of a mud.
Water just sucked out.
Okay, that's
So 15.
what's your AC, David?
15, 12.
12. That's Orelton, you could have had this dirt clod packed, and you hurl it, and it hits the barrier. The water's ripped away, leaving kind of a cloud of dust. As just a big rock that was kind of in the center of it, it's ripped out and just slaps David in the back of it. You take what's your strength modifier?
Mine's a
-1?
+3.
Oh,
+3. You take 3 points of bludgeoning damage
Christ.
as this rock just cracks against your head. There's no softening from mud or dirt as that's ripped from it by the spell. The dirt breaking apart into dust is just the rock slaps into the back of your head.
oh. What the hell is that for?
So you don't know Shape Earth yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're not intelligent enough to, stop water from hitting you.
I'll see if I can't, like, I don't know, is there a big frond or something? And I'll just make my own umbrella.
Yeah, that's easy enough. That's you go and there's a large fern and you're able to rip it up and hold it.
Just a
the-
whole bush over my head.
Like a fern, like there's a large thick fern frond
Oh,
that
okay.
you're able to get.
See, you use your brain a little. You don't get wet.
Yeah, but I don't have to use magic and be pretentious about it.
I'm holding my finger up in the air.
Yeah,
Just so it
Mr.
doesn't-
Fancy boy. That's it.
You guys continue on. What order are you guys walking in?
Well, I'm behind Bauer.
Yeah, you're behind Bauer. Raven's in front.
Raven.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That'll
or
be me at the end.
back. Okay. You guys kind of continue on. The clouds, well, it has now stopped raining almost entirely, are growing denser and thicker. Like a storm is brewing, like a big storm is kind of like building up at this point. And it's to the point that you guys are probably around midday, but it's getting darker almost to the point of night. And it's that kind of weird thing where you can see in the distance light, like there's light kind of breaking through at points around this storm cloud, kind of in every direction. It's like you guys are almost in like the eye of a storm where it's not raining. You can see kind of rain around you, and beyond it, you can see light. It seems to be this building, brewing storm. Raven, you're not really having any difficulty navigating through the forest as it gets kind of darker and darker still, your dark vision not becoming a problem. And Orelton, that's as you guys are kind of spaced out, just walking at comfortable paces for each of you, you see off in the distance something that didn't really catch the attention of the others. There's like a figure like off to the side, like it seems somewhat shaded, but a female figure who's just curled up against a tree facing away from you, and you just see like shaking shoulders.
Hey, whoa.
Hmm?
I call out everybody else.
What's up?
I'll just point.
The Raven and Kaya and Vala all kind of continue walking away from you. You guys don't hear anything.
Hey. Okay.
They kind of
We don't-
fade into the dark.
Okay. Doing my damn self, I guess. And I will walk over to the girl.
You know, and she, as you get closer, you hear like ragged, like crying, like.
Hey. Everything okay?
Kind of no real response as you're speaking to her.
And she's facing away from me, right?
Yeah, she's facing away from you. She's like huddled against a tree.
I will, like, put a hand on her shoulder.
Put a hand on her shoulder, and she reaches and grabs yours with an unnatural strength and holds you for a moment. What the rest of you see, you hear, "Hey, do you guys see that?" And you turn, Raven, you went, "See what?" And Orelton kind of looks past you and goes, "Fine, I'll do it my damn self." And kind of walks a little ways to a tree, and he says something, and he reaches out and then kind of stops, looking at his hand. Orelton, that's as she grasps your hand, she turns, and you see a masked face covering down to her mouth, where gaunt white tightened skin is pulled tight against like bloodied teeth, not like they had she'd bitten into anything bloody, but these like decaying teeth with broken gums and broken chapped lips bleeding. And she goes, "Finally, I found you."
You yank my hand away.
You're unable to move. The rest of you watch as Orelton collapses to the ground. Darkness overtakes your vision and fades.
Well, that's not good. I'm gonna come over and
Run over.
Yeah,
Help.
we immediately start
Okay.
running that way.
Yeah, that's you run. He only made it about 25, 30 feet away. Collapsed to the ground. You make it up to him.
Shake him.
I kind of tap his face a little bit. Yeah.
No response. He seems cold.
Checking for temperature, for heartbeat, for blood pulse, for all medical thingies.
Orelton is dead.
He's gone.
What do you mean he's gone?
He's dead.
Well, he just drop over dead.
Hey, and thank you all so much for watching. We're going to continue this next week. Don't
Mother-
forget to like, comment, subscribe. We love to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful night.
Ah!
Wow.
Next time on Easy Dispel.
Darkness has just overtaken you, and you find yourself floating.
Thought it'd be a lot longer before you found me, if I'm being honest.
I have unfinished business for you to attend to. Never will you find rest in peaceful death, as long as I have nothing to do but pay my remaining attentions to you.
Before I came over to this continent, I was a paladin of the Order of List. I was hired on a job to attain a magical artifact.
Right next to you, breathing practically down your neck, is a dire wolf.
I reach forward and I'm gonna touch him.
You reach out and touch it. Kind of your fingers run through this thick, coarse wolf's fur, and it finally breaks eye contact, lowering its head, pressing into your hand, and then just dissipating into smoke.
You said you got this in prison?
I got this, well, I've had this mark on my shoulder for a long time. I have a twin brother. He doesn't have this mark. I can't exactly talk to my parents anymore.
As you pull it out, the tablet is just vibrating. It's just kind of shaking. And as you kind of turn one side, it diminishes a little bit. And then as you turn back towards the tree, it increases.
Oh, Relton?
Well,
There's the vines are moving away from you. Do me a
think
favor.
that's-
Take your sword out and turn around and just slowly move the sword towards the tree.
You
Who
do
does that?
the like concentrated vines that make up the trunk of this tree all like pull themselves, like stretch themselves as far away.